What does it take to fly? It takes knowing we have our work cut out for us. Flying brings more challenges every day. But if you ask any of the pilots who work here, they'll say one of the first things they learned in flight school is that if you run before the wind, you can't take off. You've got to turn into it. Face it. The thing you push against is the thing that lifts you up. So every challenge, really, is a chance to show that even in this crazy world of no liquids, take your shoes off, cost-cutting, and route cancellations, someone in this industry still has the passenger's back. It starts with a simple hello, and it ends in over 350 destinations worldwide. And along the way, we'll prove we're not just building a bigger airline, we're building a better one.
This is your captain speaking. Flight crew, prepare for takeoff.
Bob Lussow was in 4th grade when he declared that the job he wanted most was flying airplanes. He grew up in Chicago, not far from Orchard Field, which would later become O'Hare International Airport. In 1957, when he was 14 years old, he began riding his bike to Orchard Field to hand polish a Ryan Navion in return for rides and the chance to take the controls. At 16, he began taking flying lessons in a J-3 Cub at Ravenwood Airport, located on the north side of Orchard Field. He soloed at age 17, still riding his bike to the airport because he did not yet have a driver's license. After graduating from Lane Technical High School in Chicago, he enrolled in the School of Aeronautical Engineering at Tulsa University in Oklahoma. He didn't do much flying on his own at Tulsa, but a sweetheart back home kept him riding the airways between Tulsa and Chicago on a $19 student airline fare. He married Tina, his sweetheart, in 1962, and the couple settled near Chicago, where Lussow worked as a line boy at Roselle Field, later Schaumburg Regional Airport. While there, he earned his private, commercial, and instructor ratings and worked on instrument and multi-engine ratings while flying charters in a Bonanza and instructing at Roselle Field. In the mid-1960s, United Airlines offered a program to hire new pilots and help them get the required ratings. Bob applied twice and was turned down twice. Pilot friends at the airport suggested he apply to Delta Airlines, a small Atlanta-based carrier that was serving Chicago. When Delta hired him in October 1965, Bob had only a temporary instrument license, no multi-engine rating, and about 900 hours of flight time.
I got a chance to fly with all the fellows that came back from World War II. I'll say this, I've said it before, every one of them was a character. Every one of them. And yet I figured that if they survived World War II, the minimal training they had to start with, and got back alive, I figured they had something to teach. And every one of them did. So I had some of the best teachers I guess you could ever hope to have.
At Delta, Bob earned his flight engineer rating in 1966 and flew as engineer on DC-6s and DC-7s. Delta Airlines was expanding, and flight crews were being rapidly promoted. Lussow upgraded to first officer while building time for an air transport pilot rating. He flew first officer on DC-6s and 7s, and later on the DC-9 twin-engine jet and the Convair 880, a four-engine jet. He earned his multi-engine and air transport pilot ratings on the DC-9. And in 1972, he moved into the left seat. When Delta acquired the Boeing 727, he transitioned to pilot that jet. By By 1971, Bob had a successful career with Delta, and he and Tina had 4 children. He partnered with another Delta pilot to buy 640 acres in northern Wisconsin and build a chalet. The whole family dove into winter sports, and Bob and his partner bought a snowmobile dealership. Before long, he and Tina decided to make Wisconsin their home. They bought and rebuilt a home on Lake Nokomis near Tomahawk, Wisconsin. Bob bought his first airplane, a Cessna Skylark, and began building a Vans RV-6. At Delta, Bob advanced to flying the Boeing 757 and 767 on international routes. He retired as an international captain in 1997 after 3 decades with Delta Airlines.
Took me 32 years to do all this. So it was just one heck of a ride. The Piper Cub and the 757 are so similar in the way they fly. They're both honest airplanes. The difference is the 757 had some power. The Piper Cubs that we fly even today are slightly above a lawnmower.
In 2016, he and Tina moved to Richfield, Wisconsin, near Milwaukee, to be closer to the kids.
I took her to an EAA meeting. I don't remember if it was a breakfast or a cookout or something. She met Steve Probe and started telling him what a great guy and pilot and all that stuff that I was. And he looked up at me and said, "You're hired." I thought he was kidding, but been here ever since. Have a good deal. And I'm right back where I started.
For more than 60 years, Bob Lussow has lived, loved, and promoted aviation and aviation safety whenever and wherever he could. He holds the Master CFI designation from the National Association of Flight Instructors and was named a Wright Brothers Master Pilot by the FAA. With over 40,000 hours of flight time, he has served as pilot, flight instructor, spokesperson for the FAA Pilot Proficiency Program, flight school owner, and aviation and airport ambassador. And he has been a mentor to dozens, perhaps hundreds of individuals interested in aviation.
But to tell you the truth, the biggest thrill that I get, and I know I speak for Steve as well, is when we see these kids, if you will, come out here, and actually one way or another they end up getting their ticket, their certificate, whichever or whatever it is. To watch them when they walk in with that in hand makes it all worthwhile.